Well, all right, nerds, welcome. We're only 20 minutes past when we were scheduled. It is what it is. We have light this time. Light there. Yeah, so welcome to another live stream. This one had a little bit of planning behind it, so it won't be quite as crazy as the last one. So, once again, before we get into that, let's talk about sponsors and things. As per usual, this is the merch store. I am my own sponsor, so go check out the merch. The Phantom Nerd is my favorite new one. We'll be doing more new designs eventually. There's a lot going on behind the scenes right now, so the merch designs are not exactly high priority, but I'm pretty proud of what's up there right now. The other one that I freaking love is the Confused Millennial. It's pretty hilarious, if I do say so myself. So go check out the merch store. You can check out your basic nerd merch as well. And the other channel partner, they don't like us to use the word sponsor, it's a partnership, is Dubby. Dubby is, for those that don't know, energy drink. It's powder. They do have canned stuff, but the primary product that they sell is the powdered energy drinks, the s'mores. If it wasn't as late as it was, there would definitely be some in this, but sadly, this is just chocolate milk. Dangerously delicious. It is a combination of two different caffeines, so it activates fast but also tapers off slow, so you don't have a caffeine crash. No sugar, so no sugar crash, and no maltodextrin, no garbage that's gonna like make you feel like crap. It's just gonna help you with your focus. It's pretty great. I honestly drink pretty close to a drink of Dubby every day, sometimes twice, but only when I really need the caffeine. But yeah, Dubby channel partner, pretty great. Go check them out. Dubby.gg. If you use, I can turn this on and then it'll be even more relevant. If you use code generally nerdy, oh, that's right. It doesn't work with the new update in OBS. I gotta update other things. Anyway, if you use code generally nerdy at checkout, you get 10% off your entire cart. That's your drinks, that's your cups, that's your merch, whatever you get from Dubby. You use code generally nerdy at checkout, you get 10% off. So go check it out. They're pretty great for doing what they do. All of that being said, let's talk some news. We have quite a bit to get through. First and foremost, we're going to start with a couple of quick pieces, and then we will get into the big ones. But first, we have Toy Story 5. So Pixar has released the first teaser trailer for Toy Story. Right here, we're going to play it on mute. Come on. Oh. Really? Okay, let's go do that. Going to play it on mute, see if it'll let me do the... Really? Toy Story 5. Yeah, let's see what's going on here. There it is. See if it'll let me do the picture-in-picture thing. I don't want theater mode. Picture-in-picture. Right there. All right, now can we go back to the story? Ho-ho, we certainly can, but we still have to mute this. Mute. Okay, so. Here we go. All right, Pixar has released the first trailer for Toy Story 5, and the studio isn't holding back. Quote, "The age of toys is over." A short teaser features music from NXS, Never Tear Us Apart, introduces movie's newest and biggest threat to playtime, and it's not Lotso, Zurg, or Sunnyside this time. Pixar has released the first poster, and you can watch the trailer, which we are doing. Oh, that was the whole trailer. Oh, wow, it really is short. I haven't watched any of this yet. All right, we're going to play that one more time. Trailer gives fans a first look at LilyPad, frog-shaped smart tablet voiced by Greta Lee. LilyPad is likely packed with apps, animations, games, and possibly even AI-style features that immediately overshadow Bonnie's classic toys. Oh, she's made another little trash friend. Uh-oh. Now I'm watching the trailer. I'm distracted. Is over question mark? Oh, look at that. Of course it's frog theme because the Android logo kind of looks amphibious in certain respect, so that's funny. Was Buddy, Woody, and Buzz. Wow. Jesse and the gang instantly recognize the problem. They can't compete with a device that can talk, sing, project videos, and basically babysit Bonnie 24/7. LilyPad represents movies. Blah, 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 blah. Returning cast. We have Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, and Joan Cusack, all returning as Woody, Buzz Lightyear, and Jesse, respectively. Newcomer Conan O'Brien, we've talked about his casting as Smarty Pants, a toilet training tech toy. All right, so director Andrew Stanton did WALL-E, Finding Nemo, and Finding Dory, which I wasn't a big fan of Dory, but Nemo was great, and so was WALL-E. Co-director Kenna Harris did Ciao Alberto. Don't know what the hell that is. June 19th. So yeah, first teaser for Toy Story. Kind of important, being as it is like one of the hallmarks of a generation, of two generations at this point, because it's been going for so long. Next is Jimmy Olsen's spin-off series in the works for HBO Max with Gorilla Grodd as the villain. First announced back in July, now Jimmy Olsen is officially getting his own show. THR reports American Vandal creators Dan Perrault and Tony Yacenda, I'm pretty sure is how that's pronounced, have been tapped by DC Studios to write, executive produce, and showrun a Superman spin-off series starring Skylar Gosindo as Daily Planet photographer Jimmy Olsen, as he was portrayed in the Superman movie. Gosando, breakout star in the James Gunn Superman, and now DC's giving him the spotlight. Season 1 of the new DCU show will focus on none other than Gorilla Grodd. So this is the question. How the hell are we going to have a Jimmy Olsen-centric show with supervillains factoring in... Oh, I might have to turn the music down. I just realized it's probably still pretty loud. My apologies. It's not that loud, but we will turn it down a little bit. Anyway, how in the hell are we supposed to have a Jimmy Olsen-centric show with supervillains as the word that not the antagonist. There we go. Wow. That just seems like Jimmy died in the Snyderverse because he's Jimmy freaking Olsen. Like, I don't remember. There's like alternate universe versions of Jimmy that have superpowers and stuff, but I don't think he's ever mainline universe been anything significant. I don't even know if he's ever got his own run in the comics, though somebody's going to correct me, I'm sure, but it just seems really lopsided. Like, I can understand it if they wanted to take it in like a sitcom direction, which would be different for a superhero thing in live action, because I guess that's technically what Harley Quinn and Kite Man are. But if they wanted to do that, or if they did like some sort of like newspaper drama series, like that would make a little bit of sense. Some sort of procedural show to some degree. But we're going to feature Gorilla Grodd. The super intelligent telepathic ape known for ruling Gorilla City and clashing with the Flash. Grodd first appeared in Flash comics in 1959, created by John Broome and Carmine Infantino, and is one of DC's most recognizable villains. That's arguable, though I think his profile for normies has raised in recent years because of things like the more recent animated series in the universe and such. As it says here, Grodd also featured in Gunn's Creature Commandos animated series. Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane and David Cornsweet's Clark Kent won't appear. The show will center on Jimmy Olsen and other Daily Planet reporters as they investigate bizarre supervillain cases, starting with Grodd. I guess that kind of a combination of the two ideas. My idea of doing it as a procedural, and then also somehow figuring a way to feature a supervillain in an otherwise super powerless series, is an investigative reporter doing a series of stories on a supervillain. I guess I still don't see how that's going to be compelling for more than like half of a season. But maybe that's just me. American Vandal to DCU. The hiring of Peralt and Yacenda hints at the tone of these series, so expect mockumentary-style humor and absurd true crime parody. So a combination of all three, apparently. Not necessarily that that's sitcom with the mockumentary-style humor, but that's the Office style of a sitcom is mockumentary. An absurd true crime parody all feels like a combination of all three of those things that I just was talking about a minute ago. So, duo rose to fame with American Vandal, which spoofed the true crime genre and even earned a Peabody and Emmy nod. Also created Players for Paramount Plus, and Peralt recently penned Strays, Universal's R-rated talking dog comedy. Oh, that's why that name sounded familiar. Gunn and Peter Safran are executive producing, of course. And Galen Weisman overseeing for DC Studios. Huh. Interesting. Speaking of TV shows in the DC universe, apparently we're getting a V for Vendetta series as well. And I swear we will get to the big ones here in just a moment. But first off, before we get there, V for Vendetta. A V for Vendetta series is officially in development at HBO, with James Gunn and Peter Safran of DC Studios on board as executive producers, according to Variety. Pete Jackson is attached to write the series, not Peter Jackson. We're not talking about the Lord of the Rings guy. It's a different Pete Jackson. He's attached to write the series. Ben Stevenson and Leanne Klein are also executive produced, with Warner Brothers Television behind the project. HBO and DC Studios aren't commenting yet. Jackson's reps didn't respond. If picked up, this would be another major DC live-action project landing at HBO following Peacemaker, Penguin, and the upcoming Lanterns. This one is distinctively different, though, than those three, because it wouldn't be in-universe. It would be standalone, because V for Vendetta does not happen inside of the superhero universe of DC. It happens in its own separate universe. So it wouldn't carry the stigma of whatever the hell happened in season 2 of Peacemaker, but it also wouldn't benefit necessarily from the Penguin either, and hopefully from Lanterns, assuming it's as good as everyone wants us to think it is. So that's interesting. That they're going with, yes, another live-action comic book story, but it's a different kind of live-action comic book story because it's in a separate universe. So that's kind of cool. Likely, V for Vendetta is set outside Gunn's DCU, like we were just talking about, and will be a standalone. It also follows the news of the movie returning to theaters next year for its 20th anniversary. Man, I'm old. V for Vendetta began as a comic serial by Alan Moore and David Lloyd. If you haven't read it, it's great. Better than the movie. First appearing in 1982 in the British anthology Warrior, DC took over the series in 1988. Story is set in dystopian Britain, ruled by fascist Norse Fire Party. A masked anarchist called V leads a rebellion against the regime with the help of Evie Hammond, a young woman he rescues from the secret police. If the series moves forward, it adds to HBO's list of DC content, including Lanterns, starring Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre as Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, respectively, which is the next show coming up in early 2026. Jackson wrote Channel 4's Somewhere Boy earning a BAFTA nomination for his work. He also wrote Sky Atlantic's upcoming Death of Bunny Monroe, starring Matt Smith. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that one. Comic was adapted into a 2005 film starring Hugo Weaving as V and Natalie Portman as Evie. Written by the Wachowskis and directed by James McTeague. Grossed $130 million, became a cult classic, even though they kind of screw up the story. And by kind of, I mean, like, noticeably. Still good, just not exactly the same story that you get in the comic book. But that has the potential to be pretty awesome, though, right? Because, again, both the comic and the movie adaptation are pretty great. Let's get into the first of our big pieces, first of our rumor debunking stories, and that is one that we actually didn't talk about last week because the rumor broke after last week's stream and then has now been debunked before this week's stream. So it all happened in the span of 7 days, but actually it's more like 5 days. I'm pretty sure this broke on Thursday of last week. I can't remember exactly, but something along those lines. But there was a rumor, just real quick before we get into this, there was a rumor that broke again last week that the Avengers Doomsday movie was not only going to feature Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, but it was also going to have 3 different variations of Doctor Doom, or 3 different versions of Doctor Doom, or however you want to phrase that, that were going to be female versions of Doom. That broke from Daniel RPK, who is kind of... His reputation recently has kind of gone dramatically downhill. So... And also his accuracy has gotten pretty bad of late as well. So... but the article that we are reading is as follows. Avengers Doomsday rumor... keeps spinning. Rumor mill keeps spinning, and now a pair of rumors are contradicting each other over a big claim where the movie will feature multiple variants of Doctor Doom, including female versions. Scooper Daniel RPK has claimed that Avengers Doomsday will include several versions of Doctor Doom, not just the primary MCU Doom played by Robert Downey Jr. His claims include multiple Doom variants and female Doctor Doom variants, which would fit with Kevin Feige's failed post-Endgame approach that has destroyed the MCU. I was going to say basically. I was going to interject my own, but no, that's fair. That's a fair assertion. Nerdrotic, which his track record is kind of non-existent because, well, as far as this channel is concerned, I've never sourced through Nerdrotic for rumors or to debunk rumors. So the fact that the debunk is coming from Nerdrotic is interesting, to say the least, just because he's not generally a notable source for rumor. But maybe that lack of history, maybe that lack of failure even, is going to play in his favor. I'm still kind of riding the fence on this because both options sound possible. Anyway, let's continue. However, Nerdrotic responded to RPK's claim in a pair of tweets and said it's, quote, not true at all, 100% false, unquote. Nerdrotic has gone on record saying that Marvel's current lineup of legacy MCU heroines will not be appearing in Doomsday, including Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, Tatiana Maslany as She-Hulk, and Dominique Thorne as Ironheart. This would match earlier talk that Doomsday is centered on the X-Men multiversal Avengers variant and Doom himself, which the majority of the rumors say those 3 things. So that's kind of why I'm more inclined to believe the correction in spite of the questionable nature of the source. Continuing, though, not the Disney Plus characters or the MCU's weaker woke performers. Yes. And there we have the proof from X. Release info, we already know. December 18th, 2026 is when it's supposed to be coming out. So, yeah, this is kind of still in the territory of potentially going either way. Like, it's kind of rough, but it is what it is. So, next, we're going to go for another smaller one. We're going to talk about Oscar Isaac being a crazy liberal. So, Oscar Isaac is boycotting Disney. Doom Knight sequel series, or second season, whatever you want to say, it looks like it might not be moving forward. So the article reads, Oscar Isaac just dropped a bomb during a new GQ interview, and it's one that should have Star Wars and Marvel fans paying attention. Because it sure sounds like Isaac is boycotting Disney, which would directly kill any chance of him returning as Moon Knight in the MCU, or as to Star Wars at all. Isaac slams Disney. Asked about returning to Star Wars, something he once joked he'd only do, quote, if he needed another house, unquote, Isaac admitted the old quote was slightly dickish. Then immediately took a hard pivot. Quote, he says, quote, I'd be open to it, although right now I'm not open to working with Disney. But if they can kind of figure it out and, not succumb to fascism, that would be great. Wasn't a throwaway line. According to GQ, the interview took place 2 days after ABC Disney suspended Jimmy Kimmel Live following Kimmel's comments on the death of Charlie Kirk, a move Isaac clearly didn't like. So, not succumb to fascism. I honestly just put out a whole video on this silly name calling that people on the left like to do with throwing that word fascism around. There's a whole video over on Generally Political if you want to go check that out. Not that this is necessarily related, because he's not directing the name calling to any one person in particular, aside from kind of roundabout calling the Trump administration a fascist administration. But yeah, if you find yourself in that particular predicament, then go check that out. They'll give you some ammo for defending yourself and for making a better argument than just calling somebody a name. Anyway, again, Generally Political is the other channel. This wasn't a throwaway line. Oh, we just read that. But continuing on, Isaac doubled down. Quote, if that happens, then yeah, I'd be open to having a conversation about a galaxy far, far away. Translation, until Disney, quote, figures it out, he's not working with them. Isaac played Poe Dameron in the sequel trilogy, and while there are currently no plans to bring that character back, if Isaac is refusing to work with Disney, then Poe is off the table too. Real shock is how this affects the MCU, which this show has been so up and down that I would be, even if this interview hadn't happened, I would be seriously surprised if we got a second season for Moon Knight. But the article continues. Real shock is how this affects the MCU. Oscar Isaac isn't under a long-term Marvel contract. His future as Moon Knight has been left intentionally open-ended, and fans have been waiting to hear if he'd return for a second season or appear in the upcoming Avengers films. While Isaac hasn't previously teased a return to Moon Knight, with these new comments, the answer looks obvious. If Isaac won't work with Disney, he won't work with Marvel. No Disney equals no Marvel Studios equals no Moon Knight. This would in part explain why Marvel hasn't announced anything for the character since 2022. Let's go for another quick little tiny casting announcement in a way. All right. So, Super Mario Galaxy movie is apparently going to actually feature Yoshi, which is awesome.
Yoshi!
So according to Pillsbury Tie-In Cookie Dough, we got our first official confirmation that Yoshi will be featured in the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and possibly a sneak peek at the plot. Limited edition Pillsbury Sugar Cookie packaging promotes the Super Mario Galaxy movie and prominently features Yoshi alongside Mario on the front. That is what it looks. Oh, that is even more prominent than I thought. That's actually pretty cool. The cookies themselves are shaped like Yoshi eggs, reinforcing that Yoshi will have major presence in the sequel. It's the first piece of licensed merchandise to show the dinosaur character since the 2023 film's post-credit scene teased his arrival. Back of the box may also tease elements of the movie's story. Constellation-style map shows Mario and Yoshi navigating between planets, suggesting a galaxy-hopping adventure that fits the movie's new title, which also would fit the style of the game that the movie is apparently based on. Games, I guess. Several cosmic locations are featured, including a path labeled Start and End, which would reflect how the plot unfolds across the galaxy as they travel from world to world. Bowser Jr. tease. Interestingly, one of the space stations shown on the box looks similar to designs associated with Bowser Jr. in the Super Mario Galaxy games. While Bowser was confirmed to return, voiced by Jack Black, this visual could hint at his son may appear this time around as well. With a galaxy-spanning adventure, new characters, and now Yoshi confirmed, Super Mario Galaxy movie is shaping up to be a major expansion on the Nintendo movie universe. Film releases in theaters April 3rd, 2026, just in case you did not remember. Update to this, since it was written. When was this written? This was written yesterday. So since yesterday, there's been an update. Also unveiled the following on X. The Nintendo of America announcement. Oh, there's a Super Mario Galaxy movie direct happening tomorrow. Of course there is. Wow. No. At 92? That's crazy. Yeah. Continuing. Oh, yeah, the X post from Nintendo. Join us on Wednesday, November 12th at 6 a.m. Pacific time, because of course, for the Nintendo Direct featuring the world premiere of the Super Mario Galaxy movie official trailer. So, trailer dropping tomorrow. Please note that no game information will be included in this presentation, even though they're still going to get spammed with all kinds of stuff about game stuff. Because, people don't listen. So, that's kind of cool. I bet 800 of those 909 replies are people saying, when's this coming out? We need a trailer for Metroid. We need something. All right, so our next big piece also has to do with a rumor. I think we did touch on this rumor last time. Pretty sure we talked about this on stream last time, but now it's debunked. So David Harbour, Millie Bobby Brown laugh-off drama at Stranger Things 5 premiere. So just days after reports resurfaced about alleged tension between David Harbour and Millie Bobby Brown, the two appeared together on the Stranger Things 5 red carpet, and they looked relaxed, friendly, and completely unbothered. I'm pretty sure I had that feeling when we talked about it last time, that there was so little coverage about this, and then all of a sudden it kind of blew up, that it seemed like they were kind of grasping at something. But I could be misremembering that, so, feel free to correct me if you want. But continuing on, Harbour and Brown shared a hug and a laugh while posing for photos at TCL Chinese Theater, putting to rest at least some of the speculation surrounding their relationship during production of the final season. Netflix even posted footage of the moment, highlighting the cast's final celebration after the show's debut back in 2016. This on Instagram, it would seem. The caption says, David Harbour and Millie Bobby Brown arrived together for one last Stranger Things premiere. Brown plays 11. Yeah, we already know all of the stuff. In case you don't remember, Volume 1, so the first 4 episodes, is going to be November 26th, the day before Thanksgiving. Volume 2, which is 3 episodes, is going to be Christmas Day. And then the final episode is going to be released in theaters and is also going to be released on Netflix, both New Year's Eve. But notable moment amid recent headlines. The timing of this public show of unity is hard to ignore. Harbour has been dealing with a wave of personal headlines tied to his split from His wife, Lily freaking Allen, that's right, pop star Lily Allen, was married to David Harbour. Is still technically, I think, married to David Harbour. They're just separated, legally separated. Along with resurfaced allegations of on-set tension, appearing with Brown, smiling and comfortable, sends a clear message as Netflix gears up for its biggest release of the year. And that, I think, is even an understatement, because this is more than their biggest release of the year. This is the biggest release since the last season of Stranger Things came out, because nothing has really kind of gone off the charts like that. This is a large part of the reason why Netflix has the sway it does is due very much to this show. So I think that to call this the biggest release of the year for Netflix is understating that by a lot. With the cast now closing out one of streaming's most successful shows ever, streaming, all of streaming, not just Netflix, all of streaming, one of the most successful streaming shows ever. Premiere moment signals that the focus is firmly back on the finale and not on the surrounding noise, which is cool. But yeah, so that got shot down as well. Do another couple little guys. 9 o'clock. Let's check on stream health. We're good. Check on OBS, make sure all the things are happening as they should. Oops, there we go. What is that noise? Yes, everything is looking great. Okay. It's awfully loud. All right, so Predator Badlands has launched and apparently is doing well in spite of it not being as good as some were hoping. We'll get into that. But Predator Badlands is outperforming every projection, pulling in more than $39 million for the weekend, blowing past the early $25 million estimates, setting a new record for the Predator franchise. That's pretty freaking cool. Updated numbers for the opening weekend, since the opening weekend is now over. It's at 40 million instead of 39 million, with another 40 million internationally, so 80 million worldwide. Budget is a reported 105 million, so they don't have much more to go before they've met that budget. But remember movie math. Oh, Russo. Remember, movie math says that you double the budget for the marketing, so they have to do 210 million to officially break even. So they still have a little ways before they break even, but they have almost made their initial budget back, which is pretty cool. Continuing on, the Dan Trachtenberg directed sequel is now the biggest domestic opening in 38 years of the franchise, topping Alien vs. Predator at $38.2 million back in 2004. Not counting inflation. Well, there is that. Film held impressively throughout the weekend. Saturday delivered $14 million, only 10% drop from Friday, including $4.8 million from Wednesday and Thursday previews. So the Rotten Tomatoes cinema score is, or critic score rather, is 85. The audience score is 95, and the cinema score is an A-. So these numbers are better than both Prey and the original Schwarzenegger classic, giving Badlands one of the best receptions of the franchise ever. So that being said, the where did it go? There. So we have a little bit of a review. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm only reading this because I feel like it's relevant. Usually the people at Cosmic Book have a pretty solid take on the things they review. So, according to Cosmic Book, again, I have yet to see the movie, but I will, because I do like the Predator franchise quite a bit. I even kind of dig the really crappy AVP movies, not going to lie. I don't hate them like a lot of people do, apparently. But according to Cosmic Book, Predator Badlands could have been epic if it ditched all the goofy bits and forced feminist messaging. So even Jeremy Johns in his review, excuse me, excuse me, even Jeremy Jahns in his review of the movie recognized that it was a little heavy-handed with the comedy elements, which felt a little like they were trying to, I think he used the term Marvelize the movie, or he compared it to the Marvel, the experience of seeing a Marvel movie, how they just kind of always undercut serious moments with fart jokes. And so he said there was an element of it to that. So that's a little bit more insight into what they mean by goofy bits, I think. And forced feminist messaging, which, again, Johns didn't really comment on that. But clowns at Disney still can't help themselves. This is the bozo version of the Predator we grew up with. The same franchise where a Predator laughs while nuking Arnold Schwarzenegger, except now it's filtered through Disney's Baby Yoda-fied everything mindset. Disney bought Star Wars, Marvel, and Fox because their brand was drowning in tiaras. You'd think they snagged those IPs to inject some testosterone. Nope, they dragged their Disney princess mentality into the boy brands and wrecked them. Wow. Don't hold back, dude. And the Disney princess fans certainly didn't migrate over. That's kind of what we've been saying this whole time, since Disney started to Disneyify everything. Imagine being a filmmaker with a cool idea and Disney tells you to add Baby Yoda, Baby Groot nonsense. Make every female character a flawless super genius and make the male characters incompetent or evil. That's Disney's entire playbook. Zero imagination. Fire all of them. Spoilers below. Okay. We'll skip a little bit. Is it woke? I think that's a fair question to be asking at this point with a Disney property. Definitely has a heavy feminist message. The overall message is loud and clear. Your family isn't any good, so find a new one. It's Disney indoctrination. Deck is cool and badass at times, but look at the pattern. So Deck is the name of the Predator, which I still think that this mouth is better than some of the more recent movies, but still looks so wrong. Anyway. Deck's entire biological family, all dudes, hate him and want him dead. His, quote, new family is all women. The creature they nickname Bud is also female. Bud's parent is a single mom. The synths are all female-coded. They answer to the word mother. All male synths are cannon fodder. And who shows up at the end but his mother, because apparently Predator parents are divorced now. Oh. That's interesting. It's not subtle. The alarm bells went off early during Deck's fight with his father and brother. His facial expressions, bulging eyes, and scarred looks felt engineered to humanize him for the Disney fanbase, which was exactly what was guessed at when they first dropped that trailer where they revealed how he looked. A lot of people were like, they're trying to make, because he's the protagonist, they're trying to make him look more human so people can identify with him better, which to a certain point is fair. Like, that is a way to get people to identify with your main character, is to make them look more human when they're an alien species, but does a disservice to the franchise when done this way, because then he doesn't look enough like the other aliens in his race that have already been established in the mythology. So, like, you turn off the fan base when you do something like that. Lands on a planet and instantly loses all of his weapons so that he can rely on a handicapped synth and a Baby Yoda Groot wannabe. Oh, interesting. How many Marvel jokes can they cram into a Predator movie? It's cringe-worthy and didn't belong. Oh, geez. The Tia problem... Thea, maybe? Thea Deck. Dynamic gets... Oh, that must be her character. Gets overbearing fast. The director seems aware because he literally shows Deck sleeping through her monologue. That's bad. I related. I didn't care about the synth either. She talks about her other synth almost like they were in love. Maybe that's what THR was reacting to. But then Deck announces they're sisters. Feels like a late rewrite. Weird. See, so in this picture, this is presumably Deck, and then either his father or his brother. I'm going to assume his brother because it doesn't look like an aged Yautja. But the other Yautja looks proper. His mouth looks right. It doesn't look half human like Deck does. So I don't why would you only make that one character? Again, I understand because you want to make it easier for the audience to identify with the protagonist of your story, but that just feels lazy. Tell a better story. Become a better storyteller so that they have no choice but to identify with your main character. What works, according to Cosmic Book, is the VFX are excellent. The flight choreography is strong. The creature designs, minus the cutesy bud aesthetic, look great. And the score is solid. Movie's entertainment value is just buried under tone-deaf messaging and Disney tier silliness. The verdict, 6 out of 10. Predator Badlands is the Disney-fied Predator. Plenty of action, some cool moments, but way too much goofiness and heavy-handed feminist messaging, which was kind of, to a lesser degree, the issue with Prey. The heavy-handed feminist messaging, like, yes, I know it is a fictional story, but, like, you still are telling a fictional story in an actual time period with actual peoples that existed, and so they have there's knowledge about the way their society functioned. So if you're telling your make-believe story as historical fiction, that's what I was looking for. If you're telling your story as historical fiction, which is what Prey was, not what Badlands is, but what Prey was, then you should fit it inside of the actual historical element that you're including. It should fall in line with what we know of that historical element, even though it is fiction. It's about aliens coming down from outer space. Yes, I get it. But it's a better storytelling device when you make it fit the time period you're trying to sell us that it exists in. When you have, bringing that back to Badlands, when you have a race of beings, which if you read the comics, there are badass female Yautja as well. So, like, if you really wanted this messaging, there was probably a much more lore accurate way of doing it than trying to make Deck into an outcast with the males of his species. Like, that just feels too lazy. I'm sure the movie is a hell of a lot of fun. Like, it looks like it's pretty solid aside from those bits. Because even, again, I'm going to bring up the Johns review. The Jeremy Johns review even calls out the overuse of comedy in this. So if Johns is noticing it, because he's not exactly politically minded one way or the other necessarily. He knows what he likes. He knows why certain things work in storytelling, especially as it pertains to cinema. So he's fairly informed in the art form, even if he's not overtly political. Like, if your politics are getting in the way of your art, and somebody who is a professional reviewer of art notices, then you're definitely too heavy-handed. It's fine to have a message. It's even fine to have a message that maybe a good portion of your core audience aren't exactly going to agree with, as long as the storytelling on top of it is not hindered by said message. And it sounds like, to at least a small degree, if not a middling degree, that's the case here. Is it would have been great if not for their heavy-handed messaging. So the last little bit, Predator Badlands, Disney-fied Predator, blah, 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 blah. Goes on to say, I don't hate it, but I can't stop thinking about how good it could have been without the Disney interference. The director's first idea was to have the Predator versus Nazis. Now, that would have been cool, but of course, it would have been R-rated. Also, again, going back to the Johns review, apparently, in order to maintain their PG-13 rating, all of the creatures that Deck fights on this planet don't have red blood in order to stay away from the R rating, because Disney really didn't want to go with an R-rated movie. So there is that. We don't need that. I think the only other piece we have as far as regular news goes, didn't even need to leave Cosmic Book this week because they had so much has happened since last week. But if you have been living under a rock, or maybe you only heard bits and pieces but you don't know the details, we have some rumored details as to why Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed once again. So, according to rumor, and this comes from what is being reported as a verified Rockstar employee who is currently employed, not formerly employed, the delay was caused not by necessarily the need to increase the quality of the product, but more because of union busting. So we'll get into the details here. So the article reads, a verified Rockstar employee has posted a detailed statement accusing the company of firing more than 34 workers in the UK and Canada as part of a union busting effort. The post comes after Rockstar delayed Grand Theft Auto 6 to November 19th of next year. Pushed it back. That's like 5-6 months. Let's see if the article says. Links us to now previously from May, so 6 months approximately. But raising wider questions about the studio's internal state as it pushes toward launch. According to the employee who posted on the GTA forums, HR contacted staff members individually for what was described as a short, friendly meeting. Once inside, workers were handed envelopes stating they were being terminated for, quote, gross misconduct, unquote, tied to activity in a private Discord server. No evidence was presented. No specifics were given. The employee says the letter claimed there was, quote, no other reason. So maybe this was a former, like, just recently fired. The other report I heard on this is also a couple of days old. Yeah, this is from the 7th. And they made it sound like it was somebody who was posting anonymously but was still somehow verified. So maybe this is actually somebody who was part of the 34 that were released. The article continues, for those not in the office, HR reportedly called them, fired them in under 2 minutes, and ended the call even when one worker had a panic attack. Ooh, that's not a good look there, Rockstar. Poster says this included senior artists, animators, designers, producers, programmers, and QA testers, including people with more than 18 years at Rockstar with no disciplinary record. This from Dexerto. Protests have broken out outside Rockstar Games' Edinburgh studio and Take-Two's office in London. Protesters accuse the company of union busting after it fired 30 to 40 staff, but Rockstar says they were fired for leaking company secrets. Yeah, the other report that I heard said that the official company line rather is that these people were leaking game information, and that's why they were let go. Which, if that is the case, that also would explain why somebody with 18 years with no disciplinary record, if you get caught doing something like that, it doesn't matter if you have a disciplinary record, you're toast, man. But we don't know one way or the other, so we can't necessarily make that judgment. But employee says workers were denied the right to union representation during the termination meeting, which is illegal under UK employment law. They were then escorted out of the studio in minutes. If they don't have a union, how do they get representation? I don't get that. Some of those fired were reportedly recovering from surgery, out sick, or on paternity leave. Others risk losing work visas. Employee states the Discord server at the center of the accusations did not contain leaks of Rockstar projects. Instead, they say it was a private server for employees and IWGB union officials focused on working conditions and organizing. Interesting. every worker fired. Oh, so they were part of the union. I thought. So the term union busting kind of implies they were trying to circumvent the formation or the joining, because so again, the other report that I heard said that specifically they got rid of this many workers, 34 workers, specifically because if they maintained the number of employees they had, then they had to legally allow the union to come in. So they fired the workers under the guise of leaking company secrets in order to maintain a staff level that is below the requirement of allowing the union to come in. So that's kind of the way it was worded in the other report on this that I heard. So that's interesting that we're getting a little bit more detail here. Employee states the Discord server at the center of the... Oh, wait, we already read that. But the timing is also noteworthy. Employee says the union had just... There it is, yeah. So this is part of it. Union had just passed 200 members, hitting the 10% threshold needed to request formal recognition and begin collective bargaining. The alleged firings targeted union organizing committees across multiple Rockstar studios. The employee describes the internal atmosphere as tense and fearful. Workers reportedly avoid talking in common areas, worry they'll be next, and are reluctant to acknowledge colleagues protesting outside. They say, quote, trust and confidence, unquote, inside the studio is gone, and excitement for GTA 6 cycle has collapsed into anxiety. I can see that. The union intends to challenge every dismissal. The employee calls the fight critical, warning that if Rockstar succeeds, more mass firings could follow. A fundraiser supporting the dismissed workers is now circulating. What this means amid GTA 6's delay. Timing is hard to ignore. Rockstar delayed Grand Theft Auto 6 by another 6 months, citing the need for additional polish. The employees' claims suggest deeper turmoil behind the scenes, with senior staff removed just as the company moves into the most demanding phase of development. If true, the loss of key artists, designers, and producers could hit scheduling, workload, and overall stability. Yeah, no kidding. Huh, that's kind of nuts. All right, we'll see if there's anything noteworthy to talk about music-wise, but we're going to make this real quick. Oh, here's a cool quick one. Metallica. According to Ultimate Guitar, from November of last year to November of this year, Muse Group, to celebrate National Metal Day on November 11th, which is today. It's also Veterans Day for those of us in the States. Muse Group, the company behind Ultimate Guitar, analyzed millions of plays to reveal the most played metal songs and artists of the year. The data confirms the enduring popularity of metal among guitarists, with Metallica, Avenged Sevenfold, and Ozzy Osbourne leading the list in Ultimate Guitar. So their top, what is that? Top 10, according to Ultimate Guitar, is... Wow. We have 4 Metallica songs in the top 10. Top 3 are all Metallica. Nothing Else Matters, Enter Sandman, and Master of Puppets. We got Crazy Train, Mama I'm Coming Home, Ozzy Osbourne, Paranoid, Black Sabbath, One, again Metallica. So Far Away is the Avenged Sevenfold song. That's not great. There's so much better Avenged Sevenfold music than that. Lonely Day from System of a Down, and then Iron Man, Black Sabbath. That's crazy. National Metal Day originated from 1984 mockumentary This Is Spinal Tap, a film that humorously portrayed the world of rock and metal. In one of its most memorable scenes, guitarist Nigel Tufnell proudly shows his amplifier that goes to 11 instead of 10, saying it makes it 1 louder. The line became a symbol of metal's power and character, and November 11th, 11/11, is now celebrated as a tribute to the genre and its culture. how did I not know that previously? That makes a lot of sense, and I love it. But like, I should have known that years ago, right? So the plays the top bands. Metallica with 8 million plus views. Streams is probably the more appropriate word. Avenged Sevenfold is 3 million plus. Ozzy Osbourne is over 2.5 million. Sabbath, so technically also Ozzy, also 2.5 million. System of Down, also 2.5 million. Deftones, bleh, just under 2 million. Slipknot, just over 1 million. Pantera didn't break 1 million streams this year. That's sad. 870, just about 880,000. Maiden with approximately the same, and Tool with just over 700,000. That's crazy. Yeah. So there's a little fun one. We'll pick one more, and then we'll call this a stream. Stones, Robert Plant, Leopard, Eric Clapton, Scorpions, Thin Lizzy. Sublime to perform self-titled album in its entirety for the first time ever at Red Rocks. That's kind of cool. Tedeschi Trucks Band, residency at the Beacon Theater. That's cool. Come on, there's got to be something like great. Train, Sabaton, Florence and the Machine. Here's a cool one to go out on. We'll go here. Soundgarden reunite for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. Members of Soundgarden reunited at their induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on Saturday night, the 8th of November, during the special event at the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles, California. The Seattle grunge pioneers were formally inducted by actor Jim Carrey, who said during his speech, when the Seattle music scene exploded, it resurrected rock and roll for me. When I heard Soundgarden for the first time, I wasn't just excited. I wanted to put a flannel shirt on and run into the streets screaming, "My mother smoked during pregnancy." Met the band in '96 when I was hosting SNL for the very first time, and I insisted Soundgarden as the musical guest. By then, the lineup was Chris Kimthale, Matt Cameron on drums, and Ben Shepherd on bass. They launched into the dark, epic beauty of Pretty Noise. I stood right in front of them, letting the waves of electricity wash over me like an audio baptism. They pushed me under. When I came up, I was free. After the show, they handed me what is to this day one of my most prized possessions, the Fender Telecaster Chris played on the show, signed by the whole band. That's cool. Late frontman Chris Cornell's daughter Lily then shared, "I am just really, really happy they got to make music with his friends." At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. I know how much purpose that gave him and how much it's meant to people who have heard that music. That's what I'll be holding in my heart tonight. Cornell's bandmates Cameron Thale and Shepherd and original bassist Hiro Yamamoto took the stage with Pearl Jam's Mike McCready and the Pretty Reckless frontwoman Taylor Momsen for a performance of Rusty Cage. That's kind of cool, too. Brandy Carlisle and Alice in Chains' Jerry Cantrell then joined the Soundgarden stars for their signature hit Black Hole Sun. Cornell's daughter Toni also performed an acoustic version of Fell on Black Days. That's awesome. With Heart's Nancy Wilson. That is a hell of a ceremony, I feel like. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has shared a video of Soundgarden accepting their induction, which can be streamed on YouTube below. Man, they really got to put those performances up on the internet because crazy, awesome things happen at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. Sometimes they find their way up onto the internet. Sometimes they don't. It's unfortunate, but it is kind of what it is. But again, that is where we're going to be calling this a stream. So thank you very much, nerds, for joining. Normally we would be doing some gaming here in post, or after the news, but because it is so late and I do have to be up at 6 a.m. tomorrow, that is not going to happen tonight. So thank you very much, nerds, for joining. Next week, let's look at my calendar real quick. I know, I hear you. My dog's yelling at me. Next week, we very likely will be doing a stream, but the week of Thanksgiving, so 2 weeks from now, we will not be doing a stream. I do have some reaction videos that are coming down the pipe, so there will still be content going up, just no stream in 2 weeks. Some pretty cool reactions, too, I gotta admit. Anyway, thank you very much for joining for yet another live show. Those of you who are here in chat, those of you who watch in post, you also are much, much appreciated. I will see you guys in the next one. Before we go, though, always remember that if it is generally nerdy, it's